Good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back. Very long time no see. I do apologize about that. As you would know, life definitely happens, and it just happened in a big way. So I'm here today just to sort of to give this another go. I did a video going back about 6 or 7 months now, and that's all null and void at this point, and we've got to start again. So I'm absolutely itching to get back into some content. I've done a little bit behind the scenes while I've been off the camera, and as you can see, I'm back in full swing with project mode right behind me, but really looking forward to getting back into it. Now, just as a bit of context, we've been building a house during this crazy COVID period. It's been nearly a 3-year process, and things were going somewhat smoothly. During that time frame, unfortunately, where we were renting, which we'd been there for like 4 or 5 years, they decided to sell that, and that sort of threw us out a little bit. So in that short time, we didn't really have too much to plan. Didn't know where we were going, didn't know when the house was going to be finished, so we ended up moving in with the in-laws, which was great. But naturally, they didn't have the room to facilitate all the cars, all the chaos and mess and noise and everything either. So we decided to step away from that until we were settled into the new house. So that's where we catch up to with that last video, and since then, things haven't gone smoothly once again. To be forward, there has been a separation, and not that that's of massive importance to the channel, but there is definitely points of the video that won't make sense without that bit of information, I guess. So we'll touch onto that as well. So the plan is today just to run through all the cars and just see what we're up to with it, see what's coming, and just get stuck back into it. There's another way of saying it. Now, naturally, there will be some cars that have gone missing. So she had the purple Type R supercharged Civic, so that will be gone. And if you caught that last video that went up and has since obviously come down, I introduced her new daily driver as well. So they're both gone. I've still got 7 cars to run through with all sorts of wacky fun and adventures, but those still obviously be off the scene. So now the plan for 2024 is pretty simple. I want to need everything running. The new house is got a great workspace, which I'll show you in a minute. 6x6 garage and a half decent setup. But it is uphill into the driveway, so having cars that are broken and down and out makes it very hard. So getting everything just running is the goal plan. Having them finished isn't necessarily, that's very ambitious, that isn't going to happen, but running at least, that's something. So we're going to go through the cars today. I'm going to start in the corner of most finished to least finished, or what order I want us to have them done in. But yeah, we're going to go through that quickly. So once again, it's not going to be the most exciting video in the world, but I need to do this for context, because when I jump straight back into it, next video, which will be very soon, you're going to have no bloody idea what's happening. So we'll start from the top and go from there. So the first car is my Nissan Patrol. So 2022 Nissan Patrol. Got this late 2022, I guess, and got straight into it. And I literally mean straight into it. We drove it from the dealership, probably 2 kilometers around the corner to a mate's workshop, where we had the exhaust, the wheels, and a few other bits and pieces to go on it. So we got that whacked on, and then I went home and I did interior wrap. It got ceramic coat, it got plastics on it, got odds and end done. Now from there, the wheel choice, which you probably saw and have questioned, and I understand, but in theory, the standard tyres are nearly a 33 and they are an all-terrain, so I thought if I whack my new wheels with those tyres, it'll work. But unfortunately, it looked bloody horrible. So quickly gave up on that. I've gone your typical larger tyre, like your 295 70 18, I believe they are, which is like a 34 and some change. Not going to call it a 35 because someone always gets upset about that, so hold your horses. Got that done, and come back and I did like bash plates. So mine has not been off-road yet, but that's how bad these bash plates are. You need bash plates on your Y62, so I've got those guys on there as well. So since then, haven't really done too much. Now, in terms of content for that vehicle, I've done a little bit. It's done well. I want to continue to do more, but I just want a different approach. So most people are typically worried about the fuel consumption, the towing, the load and distribution, airbag system, all that. I understand that. Not really my kettle of fish though. It will be doing some towing of the other cars to and from events and out full driving and stuff like that. But it's not going to be packed up and touring Australia anytime soon, that's for sure. So I have done a video with my draggy. So if you're unsure what a draggy is, it's in the other car, but it's a little dongle, connects to your phone. They're supposed to be pretty accurate, but yeah, it'll give you all your drag racing statistics. So it'll give you 60 foot, 1/8 mile, 1/4 mile, 1,000 foot, all that sort of stuff. And I've used that on the car standard and got some figures on it, and I'll be doing that now with the bigger tyres on it as well, just to see what the bigger tyres sort of take from the performance of the car. And another thing I'm trying as well is getting the car off the mark. They don't seem to want to get off the line quickly. Now apparently I've got like an anti like a Bose system built in, where the harder you whip them, the more sensible they'll leave the mark. So I've got a throttle controller in the car now. I'm going to do what I can to dial that down or up, whichever way may suit. So that'll be in another video, all that stuff anyway. In the future, obviously there's a wish list with the Y62. Everyone wants to supercharge it. Everyone wants to do this, do that. I'm really not too sure. It's not going to be a content monster, but I definitely want to get up the beach and enjoy some of the V8-ness, that's for sure. So we'll come back to that one. Now the next car, which is once again down the driveway dirty because it's been raining on and off for the last 2 weeks, ridiculously. But the next car is probably a bit more, I don't know, more sensible, refined, quieter, I don't know. It's not going to be either a content monster, this one, but this is, of course, the little Daihatsu Applause. So once again, visited this on the last video, and this is, it's a family heirloom is what it is. So it's a 95 model Daihatsu Applause. Now this is actually my grandmother's car, God love her. So she and my grandfather bought this back in 2001, 2002. And she was absolutely over the moon by the fact that it had power steering. She came from a little Suzuki Baleno that didn't have it, and she adored the car. Now, unfortunately, we lost her to terminal illness in 03, and the car's just sort of stayed in the family and has just been, you know, with my parents, with my auntie and uncle, you know, it's just been there for everyone. It's been a great little car, and it's just at the pointy end now where it needs a lot of maintenance and repairs and stuff like that. And I couldn't see it go, so I've taken that on board now. And I've only got to get it through another, say, 6 months, and we're on a historic rego. I've been starting to sort of get things the way that I wanted them. So it had some like old factory Civic wheels on it. So I've been looking for some genuine Daihatsu wheels, and I found a set of D Tomaso, I'm not too sure how to pronounce it. Basically imported charade wheels. So we got those guys on there. They're all freshened up, new tires and stuff like that. I've done a basic wheel spacer on it just to sit it a bit more square, and some basic lowering springs. So it's not a slammed camber monster or anything like that, but it's just a bit more nuggety, ready for that look. But as I said, 6 more months, it's on historic rego, and then once again, I'm just looking forward to taking out cars and coffee, bit of a cruise every now and then, maybe some Daihatsu events, I don't know. Once again, no, not a heap of content on it, but it's going to be there all the same, just in case you saw it in the background. Now the next car, however, is going to be a content monster. This is where it gets very interesting and exciting, and it sucks that this is everyone's favourite car of mine now, because I've spent years and too much money on a lot of other ones trying to make them nice, and this is the go-to. But this is the Jazz. Now once again, if you watched the last video, you would have been like, you sold that, and I did. I did sell it. It was in a funny situation where I needed a car for the business, and I had too many, and it was only like a daily driver at that point. An odd one, but still a daily driver. But yeah, so a mate of mine needed a car with his new one being built, and I needed to get rid of one, so naturally I sold it to him. Now he broke it in some spectacular fashion. I don't know what you did, Brock, but you bloody done well with it. And it was stuck on his lawn, and he kept sort of throwing offers at me until I bit and brought it back. So it's slithered its way back into my life. Now before I let it go as well, I also bought a nitrous kit for it, and funnily enough, I've brought that same nitrous kit back as well. So this is something I've been working on behind the scenes for months, and it hasn't just been like days in it. It's been like an hour or two here and there, hence why I haven't filmed it. And as it sits now, it's about 99% done. But I'm really looking forward to getting this done. So the next video is going to be stuck back into that. I want to get on the weighbridge. I want to get it obviously sprayed. I want to get it used and get it running and see what we can do, and if we can't, blow it up. So that one's going to come up very soon, and hopefully a lot of fun content with that, because it's going to stir the pot, that's for sure. Now the next car after that will be the Land Cruiser. So we have done a ton of content on this guy. He's been on the channel the whole way through, and it's been an absolute blast owning this thing. So this is Lenny the Land Cruiser. So 80 series Land Cruiser, big lift, bush beater, all the rest. Now I know I did some video series on this, like to make it like a tough tourer. That has fizzled out, and I will go into that into later detail, but we won't be going down that route anymore. Now the reason why this car's been so quiet is this is actually half mine, half Sam's, and during the separation we weren't too sure what we were doing with it, so naturally I wasn't going to be throwing money at it to try and get it fixed up and whatever else, because we didn't know if we were selling it or parting it. We didn't know what was happening. But now it's going to stay with me. It literally needs a hub and a CV, and I can bolt it back together, so a couple $100 and a few hours of work, and then can get out and start wheeling it again. So I don't think it's going to see registration again, but it will be. Obviously we want to take it and see some new places. Like, it's very upsetting to see iconic wheeling destinations. Big Red and Little Red have just been bulldozed, I believe, and that's crazy. But yeah, we definitely want to get out and do some more wheeling with that. And Kurt with a little Suzuki that's always tipped over, he's very close to fixing that, which I'll probably have to fix that, and we'll get that out as well. So looking forward to get out there and doing some more wheeling. Now the last thing with this car is I'm not sure which way this is going to go. Now, once again, my living situations here may end in the near future, not too sure. If that's a circumstance and I'm moving away, I'll probably not do too much to it. If I end up somewhere where I was like at Cameron Park, where I could just sort of jump a street or two and end up in the bush, then I want to keep it a full body truck. However, if it's somewhere like I'm now where it's got to be sort of towed everywhere, I'd much rather, you know, start to chop it up and take some weight out of it to get it on a smaller, more easily attainable trailer, whether it be buying or hiring or whatever else. So we'll see what happens with that. Naturally, the body is junk, and if I was going to be getting rid of it, I'd be probably parting it anyway. So it's kind of the end of the era for registration. Still plenty of bikes in this area, as you can hear too. But that's a Land Cruiser. And the next one is the car behind me, as you can probably roughly see. Now I am in full project mode. I've got a bench over the back with heads on it and mounts and turbos and bloody everything else. And this is another one I'm pretty keen to get stuck back into. But this is Bo's car. So unfortunately we lost Bo mid-late last year. Pretty unforeseen. Now he has been on the channel a little bit with like the Tight Truck events, but he's always in the background. Every part trips to get weird shit from Sydney at 8 PM of a Tuesday night, he was there. So he's always been here with the projects. Now this, I will go through this in a lot more detail in its own videos when I start that sort of series. But this is his. It's a 4-door EG. So he's owned this car for probably 10 years himself, to be honest. In that time, he has got a DC4 donor car, so it's a full B18 swap. It's had the disc brake rear. It's been resprayed, not that it looks like it now, but it had sat under a tree for a little while. It's got everything done, like ECU, fab work, a whole lot. We do have a different head and stuff to go on it to get it finished, but once again, that'll be in the next video. But look, unfortunately, he got literally 95% through this. Now, anyone who's done a rather large project would appreciate this, but he got the engine swap done, the turbo kit done up, all the fab work, all the exhaust done, the ECU on it, everything. Like, he had stock injectors in it to fire it up before he got to the fuel system, and unfortunately it wouldn't run properly. Now, someone may be able to shed some light on this. I'm no B series expert, but it sort of seems like it hung a valve. The timing was all perfect. It wasn't anything to do with that, but it's like the valve sort of froze in the seat or something, and the piston come up and lightly nicked it. So it lost compression. As I said, timing, everything was right. I'm not too sure why it did this. The cylinders are fine, the piston's fine. Not too sure why. But anyway, we've got to get that fixed and get that finished. And yeah, looking forward to having that one done for him as well. Now the last two cars, these have been very quiet, but these are the problem children, as I always say. So the U13 imported Bluebird and the DC5 Turbo Integra. Now the Bluebird, like, I brought this 2.5 years ago. I knew it was going to be a drawn out process finding parts and stuff, but anyway, but bought it a couple of years ago. Now, in the process of getting it running properly, the oil pump shattered. We've got no idea why, but it killed an oil pump, so naturally that sort of stopped that. And then with the rush of moving into the in-laws and stuff like that, this has ended up at my dad's place. So this has been at my old boy's house for like, I don't know, 15 months or something. It is definitely on the to-do list. I really want to get it back here when I've got some of these other cars in one piece and running and moving. So I've only got one dead car in the shed at a time, but get the oil pump done on that, get it running again, and then after that, find like a Australian delivered Bluebird as a parts car, build a nice one out of the two, and then get it on to registration. So the car in detail is it's an imported like JDM U13 Bluebird, so it's actually SR20 turbo all-wheel drive, so it's nearly like a Pulsar GTR underneath. So that's the sort of cool factor with it. My dad's shown some interest with that, so I really want to do it with him. But yeah, it's just getting the right time, and to be honest, I really haven't been looking that hard for a donor car either. So when that all sort of models up, we'll get that done. Last car is a DC5. So I've owned this Integra for 13 years. It has gone under every like fashion trend known to man. It's been pretty interesting looking back through the photos actually. But the car as it stands now is ethanol, K24, big turbo, radial tyre, all the fun spicy bits. This is sort of the one that's a bit more serious, I guess I would say. And to better explain this build, when I started this originally, a K24 was like $400 or $500, and you could pick one up from any wreckers, and they all had like great Ks on them as well. These days, unfortunately, they're more like $1,400, $1,500. They're getting up there in Ks. They're definitely getting a bit long in the tooth. So Now that I've been through 3 motors, as you can probably see, I think it's time to start looking after those K-Series motors a little bit more. So I've got my new motor under the bench down here. It's already had K20 oil pump done, and someone's painted it a stupid teal color. Behind the bench over here, I've got my head studs, my head gasket, I've got a block guard, I've got a new twin plate, I've got nearly everything to whack it together. I am just waiting on a aftermarket set of rods, and with this sort of basic engine setup that I'm doing, we've seen 700 horsepower of these motors reliably, which is massive, and I'm not going anywhere near that. Don't worry about that. It's still a street car. But yes, getting that sort of together and done, then I can drop it in the car and it'll be running and starting every bit as good as it was. However, I'm still going to leave it off the road to get a wiring harness done, and a lot of people are probably rejoicing right now because I get bullied about my wiring harness. I don't know why, but anyway, new harness in it. And then after that, I just want to refine it a little bit more. So I want to pull the back seats out of it, subs and amps, move the battery forward, just try and get the weight over the front wheels a little bit more. Just want to get some like paintless down, the paint fixed up. I want to get some new like black Recaros or something in it. And as I mentioned, projects are never really ever finished, but this has got to be cutting it pretty damn close, I must say. But yeah, that's going to be coming back at sort of 500-600 horsepower. And once again, I'm not going to try and drag that out every race night. I'll take the cheap bucket of jazz out and try and stir the pot with that every chance that I get to. So that is us. Thank you for checking in. I don't know if you've made it this far. I've probably talked your ear off. I do apologize. I don't enjoy doing this, but once again, need to make it sense for the contents, that's for sure. So thanks for checking in. Looking forward to getting back into it, and we'll see you all soon.